All right, guys, let's talk about this because nobody in mainstream media will, and seemingly no politician will, but it needs to be discussed. It's super important, and it's disgraceful that others are not talking much about it. But Ilhan Omar came out and said the following. Of course, you know Benjamin Netanyahu visited the U.S. again the other day. Ilhan says, "This is Benjamin Netanyahu's third visit to D.C. this year. War criminals should not be welcomed by any president or Congress. He should be held accountable for his crimes, not platformed. Beyond shameful." That statement is simply 100% correct. If anything, it's too soft. If anything, I would have gone further. Okay. Now, having said that, she's right. Well, here you have Republican MAGA Congressman Randy Fine. This is the guy who looks like a bloated hog. And he comes out and says the following. "I'm sure it is difficult to see us welcome the killer of so many of your fellow Muslim terrorists. The only shame is that you serve in Congress." I believe he had already called Ilhan a terrorist. He may have been Rashida Tlaib. But anybody who's Muslim, he's more than happy to immediately call them a terrorist. And he's also saying, oh yeah, Netanyahu just kills Muslim terrorists. Even though we know, now the numbers, there are estimates as high as 400,000 Palestinians murdered in Gaza by Israel. 90% or more, completely innocent. Completely innocent. There were only 30 or 40,000 Hamas members to begin with. And they killed up to 400,000 people. About half of them children. 90% of Gaza totally destroyed. How does Randy Fine talk about that? Oh, they're all Muslim terrorists. Just like you, Ilhan Omar. This is what he says. So one of the points that people are making, which I think is a great point, is could you imagine, just take out the word Muslim, put in the word Jew, and imagine a Democrat saying that to him. You're a Jew terrorist, just like the other Jew terrorists that we like to kill. Could you imagine the backlash? People would be saying Ilhan should resign by the end of that day. It would be instant. You would have the ADL, you would have AIPAC, you'd have the Stop Anti-Semitism people, you'd have all these right-wing, every right-wing politician in the country screaming at the top of their lungs, anti-Semite, bigot. He, in no uncertain terms, calls Ilhan Omar a Muslim terrorist and implies Netanyahu is only killing terrorists, which is preposterous. He's killing 90% innocent people and starving innocent people, including children, to death. Not a fucking peep. Not a fucking peep from anybody. Now, this guy, for the record, has a track record of saying shit like this. Like I said, anytime he sees a Muslim, he can't help but go, it's terrorist, terrorist, terrorist. Here's just some of his work recently. So somebody tweets, supporting killing innocent people and babies and smearing voices that fight against genocide for some AIPAC money says a lot about your character. You should be ashamed of yourself. How do you sleep at night? And this person tweeted this at Randy Fine after he said something egregious. And it has a picture of a dead baby underneath the rubble in Gaza. One of thousands of such cases. Randy Fine responds to this. Quite well, actually. Thanks for the pic. How do you sleep at night? Supporting babies being killed. He goes, I sleep great. Thank you for the picture. Randy Fine said, there is no suffering adequate for these animals. May the streets of Gaza overflow with blood. Flip it for just a second in your mind. There's no suffering adequate for these animal Israelis. May the streets of Tel Aviv overflow with blood. What would the reaction be if a Democratic politician said that? You want to know what the reaction was to Randy Fine saying this? Fucking crickets. Fucking crickets. Another one. Randy Fine says, kill them all. Hashtag no mercy. Hashtag bombs away. Randy Fine also, remember this, guys? He went on Fox News and he floated the idea of nuking Gaza. Watch.
Ceasefire deal on the table right now that the White House is hoping both Israel and Hamas will sign on to. Does this shooting change anything when it comes to the course of the war or the negotiations to end it?
Well, I think it speaks to the importance of the only end of the conflict is complete and total surrender by those who support Muslim terror. In World War II, we did not negotiate a surrender with the Nazis. We did not negotiate a surrender with the Japanese. We nuked the Japanese twice in order to get unconditional surrender. That needs to be the same here. There is something deeply, deeply wrong with this culture, and it needs to be defeated.
Nuke Gaza. There were 2.3 million people in Gaza. Now it's about 1.7 or 1.8 million. As I said, only 30 or 40,000 are Hamas. Nuke Gaza. Kill all the women. Kill all the children. Let's add to all the schools and the hospitals and the UN buildings bombed by Israel. All the children who were sniped in the face, as the New York Times reported, and has literal direct evidence of. All the doctors who come back and say, I've never seen anything like this before. All the over 200 journalists have been murdered by Israel, which is more than literally any conflict ever because they're doing it on fucking purpose. All the cafes that have been bombed. He looks at that and goes, not enough. Nuke them. Nuke them. Fuck them. They're bad. We're good. The guy who likes to think of himself as good by definition is saying, murder all those civilians. This is Nazi shit. That's what it is. We're good no matter what we do. We're good no matter what we say. We're just the good guys by definition. We were just born that way. We're just special like that. So when we commit mass atrocities, it doesn't count. In fact, our mass atrocities are good. Never been censured. He's never been censured. Never. Rashida Tlaib said some mild-ass pro-Palestine shit, said that there was some DA in the country that was targeting pro-Palestine people because that DA was. They twisted that and said, how dare you say that it's because she's a Jew? She didn't say that. You're an anti-Semite, Rashida Tlaib. Censure. And she was censured. She was censured for saying something correct. Here's Randy Fine. Nuke Gaza. Kill them all. I'm happy you're showing me dead babies. My Muslim colleagues are actually terrorists. Never been censured. He should be censured. He should resign in disgrace. And this motherfucker should be investigated. Because the fact of the matter is, if you're willing to be this nihilistic and disgraceful and degenerate and deplorable and reprobate in front of the world, this motherfucker might have people tied up in his fucking basement. Okay? I don't even... The secrets this man has, I don't even want to know what they are. But I know he needs to be locked up. I know he needs... The casual genocidal fervor of a guy like this. And again, the even sicker part, it's not even that he says it, which is sick enough. The sicker part is, where's the backlash? Let's take the best Republican, Thomas Massie, who doesn't take any AIPAC money and he wants to stop arming Israel. That's the best Republican. Has he said shit about this? Has he said anything about this? Has there been any Republican to say? Has there been any Democrat to say? I'm sure there's a handful of Democrats who have said something about this, but nobody's bringing up a resolution to censure him. Nobody's saying he should resign in disgrace. Nobody's chastising him. We need to bring back shame, y'all. We need to bring back shame. This motherfucker should never be invited on any show ever again, ever. I don't want to see him on Fox News. I don't want to see him on CNN. I don't want to see him on MSNBC. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Ro Khanna did a joint interview with this asshole and talked about, here's a Hindu and here's a Jew, and we're having meaningful dialogue, and we're working out our differences, and that's the way this country is supposed to be. Hell no. No, you don't hold hands and sing Kumbaya and talk it out with people who have Adolf Hitler's morality, okay? There is no middle ground to be reached. There is no consensus you're going to stumble across. This motherfucker is depraved. He's depraved. Censure him, resign in disgrace, and investigate his fat ass because he fucking deserves it. He deserves it. This is criminal shit. You could make an argument for terroristic threats just based off what he's already said, right? I'm a big free speech bro, but let's keep it real. We are not that far away from literal direct threats of violence. Direct threats of violence. And all this guy does is cheerlead genocide. He's one of these people who, he's a U.S. politician. Somehow, he represents the genocidal apartheid terror state of Israel more than his own country. I think wasn't he the guy who tweeted some shit about like, I shook Netanyahu's hand, now I'm never going to wash it again. He said some shit like, bro, what do they have on you? Are you in the Epstein files too? Along with your daddy Trump? Are you in the Epstein files too? Fucking unbelievable. What a deplorable, disgusting, pathetic piece of shit. And as I pointed out, hasn't been censured. And look, I wouldn't hold my breath. Because as you all know, basically every Republican except Thomas Massie is bought by the Israel lobby, right? But over 50% of the Democrats are too. And so they'll see what he said and they don't like it. But is there going to be action taken? No, there's not going to be. This is a scourge. Money in politics is a fucking scourge. It is a scourge. And it shows you how powerful they are when the Israeli government can literally commit the worst atrocity in modern history, live stream a Holocaust, and that money buys either the support or the silence of so many politicians in this country. basic morality test that most people are failing. And when there are no rules for one side, which is what we're witnessing here, they keep going further and further and further and further. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if he does do a direct call for violence. If he does say something publicly like, I think somebody should probably do something about the problem of Ilhan and the problem of Rashida Tlaib and these Muslim terrorists that they are. They got what they deserve what they got coming to them, if you know what I'm saying. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he did that. At all. Because the stuff he says here is roughly on par with saying that anyway. By the way, I remember when Rashida Tlaib was being smeared as an anti-Semite, you had Jake Tapper do multiple segments, feeding into the frenzy, the mania, the hysteria, the lies, implying Rashida Tlaib was an anti-Semite, implying she should apologize. Like I said, she ended up getting censured. CNN was on the warpath against Rashida Tlaib for correctly calling out a DA and saying, why are you singling out pro-Palestine people and doing lawfare against them? Again, you will not see a similar freakout about this fucking asshole. You're not going to see it. Maybe, if there's any ethical bone in their body, maybe because of the massive grassroots backlash over what this guy said now, maybe there's a small chance they will cover it. But that's only because of people like you and people like me and people like others in the space like Hassan Piker, who are just, we're making this what it is. We're the ones who are leading the charge to say, if you can't condemn this, if you can't talk about this, if he doesn't get censured for this, let's stop pretending like there's any rules whatsoever, any norms, any morality, any justice, any consequences. Because, again, it's the might makes right world, right? It's the might makes right world. It's the law of the jungle world. It's a baked-in double standard, guaranteed that if you're pro-Israel, say whatever you want, do whatever you want, and you're good to go. That needs to change, and it needs to change now. All right, guys, that's the show, y'all. I love y'all very much. Everybody do me a favor. Please subscribe to the channel. That helps out big time and costs you nothing. Click that bell icon so you get a notification every single time a video drops. You can also leave a like, leave a comment, all that fun stuff. That helps out in the algorithm as well. Also, go subscribe to the Corns World YouTube channel. We're dropping the Kyle and Corns over there and trying to get my boy to 100,000 subscribers. We're probably going to start doing Kyle and Corn live, which I'm really looking forward to. So go subscribe over there and you'll be able to check that out when it happens. We'll probably take super chats and all that fun stuff. Thank you to everybody who supports the show on Patreon. If you'd like to support the show, that link is below. Remember, this is real independent media. I've never talked to an advertiser. I've never done an ad read. I'm very proud of that fact. You guys fund this show from the ground up. We have that in the default ads on YouTube. Wouldn't have it any other way, man. And again, I'm very proud of what we build. And of course, go sign up for Substack below. We have Tommy Vietor coming on this week from PodSave. Really looking forward to that. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.